In this video, we want to look at the integration of the three trig functions that we want to deal with. And they're going to be cos, sine, and secant squared. Let's remind ourselves of the derivatives. So the derivative of sine becomes cosine, but because of the function there, we keep the cosine of the function, we multiply by the derivative of the function. So it's a version of the chain rule. So the same thing for cosine, derivative of cosine becomes negative sine with the derivative of the function, and tan of the function becomes derivative of the function times secant squared of the function of x. So what we want this time though is to have a look at the integrals. So we started with sine. So what we're going to do is we're going to integrate cosine. Now with our trig rules, we're not going to integrate cosine of a function. Reversing of that chain rule needs a lot more work, and it's beyond the scope of the advanced course. So what we're just going to do is we're going to limit ourselves to just ax plus b. So we're going to integrate cosine of ax plus b. So cosine integrates to sine, and then the ax plus b, that part there will just become the 1 on a. So again, if we want to go back this way, we would derive it. So deriving sine becomes cosine, and we'd multiply by the derivative of ax plus b, which would be a multiplies by the 1 on a, and that would give us 1 out the front. So for our example here, we've got 3 cosine of 6x plus 4. So this would be 3, because the 3 doesn't make any difference. And we're going to multiply that by the derivative of cos of 6x plus 4, which would be 1 on 6 sine of 6x plus 4. Plus our constant of integration. We can tidy it up and we'd get a half sine of 6x plus 4. Plus that constant. So you can see how we're going from cosine to sine for our integration. This time going from sine, integrating a sine function, we're going to go to cosine. And so ax plus b would stay the same. And because sine, when we integrate, gives us negative cosine, that's where the negative comes from. So we're going to have the 1 on a out the front, similar to what we had with the integral from the previous part. So this time for 2 cosine of 4x minus 9, we get the 2 times the derivative of the integral of cosine, which would be the minus 1/4 of sine 4x plus 9. So we're just applying that rule, and then we can tidy it up. 1/2, negative 1/2 of sine of 4x plus minus 9 plus the constant. Remembering for tan, derive to secant squared. So we're never going to integrate tan in this course. We're only going to integrate secant squared, and that's going to integrate back to the tan function with the 1 on a out the front again. So the integral of secant squared here in this part, we'd have the 5 out the front, and they give us 1/3 of tan 3x minus 2 plus the constant. So tidy it up to 5 on 3 tan 3x minus 2 plus our constant. So there's our 3 rules. So integrating cosine, sine, and secant squared of x.